Hi, tonight we're going to talk about to master the mind. To master the mind, we have to know who we are, which is that we are the master and not our mind, but the consciousness that observes the thoughts. When we learn to observe the mind, we can balance our mind that consists of positive and negative forces. The mind is like a computer, so it can be programmed, and if we don't program it, then other people will program it for us. Our thoughts are the program, so positive ones create positive emotions, and we feel good, while negative ones do the opposite and we feel bad. The key is to convert negative to positive thoughts. And the guide to check our direction is our emotions of happiness, love, and peace. These positive forces are required to sustain physical and mental activity and the vigor of life. And if not, then we need to bring our thoughts back to a positive pattern, a natural path back to contentment and joy. Some program their minds to get there by accumulating money, possessions, relationships, or knowledge, depending on prior programs. But we have to repair this programming by just being our true self. Many of us are lost in accumulating things of value and are not aware of our spirituality that leads us to bliss. No one knows us better than our true self, because we feel happy and content at home, anywhere in the world, even if we are alone, if we communicate with our soul. Our consciousness educates us how to be at home anywhere in our inner retreat. Ernest Holmes said, "Change your thinking, change your life." George Bernard Shaw said, "Progress is impossible without change. And those who cannot change their minds cannot change anything." Lao Tzu said, "Life is a series of natural and spontaneous changes. Don't resist them. That only creates sorrow. Let reality be reality. Let things flow naturally forward in whatever way they like." The deep feeling of home is deep within us in a connection of our mind and consciousness that Jesus called the divinity within. To find the peace, stillness, and love and tranquility within, we need to go beyond the mind, beyond thinking. Christians call it a state of grace. We can't get there with the mind because we can't stop our mind from thinking with a mind that is thinking. The mind is simply the wrong tool, so we need to transition to the perspective of consciousness. The mind thinks, and that is a good thing, so we use it for bookkeeping, to keep our finances up to date, and to calculate like our computer. But we have to program it. We are the soul consciousness that observes and experiences the mind and body with being, not with thoughts, because thoughts produce more thoughts. When we are lost in thought, one thought comes after another. But when we are lost in just being, peace, love, and bliss becomes apparent. So if we lose the peace and love, we are off the path. Amit Ray says, "The science of prayer is reprogramming your subconscious mind, and the art of prayer is connecting with the higher self." Rumi said, "Let yourself be silently drawn by the strange pull of what you really love. It will not lead you astray." He also said, "There is a voice that doesn't use words. Listen." Then he said, "The quieter you become, the more you are able to hear." Thoughts race into our mind all the time, and they give us birth, and they give birth to other thoughts. And many of our thoughts are like clouds, blocking the sun and making us think negatively about life. When we clear the clutter in our mind, the clouds leave, and the day is beautiful because we can see the lesson and grow. And without sorrow, without the sorrow that makes us suffer. Thoughts work like energy to propel our mind to produce more thoughts. So when we meditate, thoughts enter our mind like birds flying in the sky. But if we focus on a bird, it lands in our mind. We are not the thinker, just the observer of our thoughts. So we can stop giving our attention to them and just let them fly in and fly out without landing. Our mind is like the radio that is constantly playing. We listen to the songs we like and tune out the commercials to disrupt the music. This is how we rewire our brain and reprogram our mind, by not giving focus to negative thoughts that bring us down or away from the path of bliss. This takes energy away from thoughts or software that no longer serves us and keeps us from what is possible. Since we were born, our mind has become infected with viruses, but they are just programs that run constantly. So by learning to not focus on them, prevents them from robbing our energy. We need to ignore some things to get inner peace, because focus is a resource that is limited. So we need to pay attention to what is important. Marcus Aurelius said, "You shouldn't give circumstances the power to rouse anger, for they don't care at all." Rumi says, "I am not this hair, I am not this skin, I am the soul that lives within." Aristotle said, "We are what we repeatedly do." Excellence, then, is not an act, but a habit. Our brains are overworked with our jobs and social obligations, then distracted with stimuli, so our mind needs time to disconnect and unwind. A time where we are free to examine our life honestly and renew in the quiet time of meditation, where we are open to deeper intimacy. We find peace not by switching and swapping situations in our mind, but by relaxing in our consciousness beyond the mind. This allows the mind to upgrade its software and delete viruses and old programs that bog down and gum up our lives. Peace comes from within, so there is no way to peace. We stop seeking it outside and just become calm, still, and are at peace. It is our choice between stress over external situations or relaxing in inner peace. That doesn't mean we ignore difficult circumstances, but are at peace even when they come to a head. At the end of the day, solutions come to a busy mind, but they do come when the mind is still and the mind is tranquil, where we have good intentions and pure consciousness. So I'm going to repeat that. At the end of the day, solutions don't come to a busy mind, but they come when the mind is still and the mind is tranquil, when we have good intentions and pure consciousness. Vincent Peale said, "The life of inner peace, being harmonious and without stress, is the easiest type of existence." Einstein said, "A calm and modest life brings more happiness than the pursuit of success combined with constant restlessness." A Zen proverb states, "To be calm is the highest achievement of the self." The brain can get into downtime out of action like our computer very fast, and it has been proven to aid us when learning or studying. Research tells us to study and focus, then take a break to maximize our time when learning new information. In brain scan experiments on rats, it revealed that rats allowed to rest after an unfamiliar maze were faster when challenged with the same maze after a brief rest. A professor of psychology and neuroscience at the University of South California says ideal time helps develop mental processes in a deeper reflective state than memory and retrieval. Researchers say the mind wandering helps us with problem solving, creativity, productivity, and aha moments when we let the mind wander freely. Blocking the mind's freedom to wander robs the brain of time to fulfill its unconscious tasks. So, for well being, we have to change the channel from the thinker to the observer and an experiencer of the thoughts, away from the mind that gives fuel for more thoughts. Therefore, to quiet the mind, we need to turn away from the thoughts constantly running in the mind. The thoughts will continue, so we tune them out by putting our attention elsewhere until the energy runs out and the mind slows and is muted. Peace of mind does not care where we are, so it can be noisy, a troubled situation, or in difficulty and still be calm. Like water, our mind can be calm and clear, or unsettled where it is difficult to see, which depends on if we are connected to the conflict or disconnected. We can always reconnect later. Wayne Dyer said, "Peace is a result of retraining your mind to process life as it is, rather than as you think it should be." A Zen proverb says, "Let go or be dragged." We are in the season of holidays, which can be very stressful, so find your inner peace and enjoy them. Thank you.